Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Man, it's a brisk, foggy day today here in the PNW. Oh man, I wanted to do a little video for you. The last video you guys saw was a little bit about the bandsaws. That was the last video I put out. Well, I recorded that video right around the Christmas time. I just finished up knives, and I just wanted to share a little bit with you guys that were following with the bandsaws, and I wanted to share that information with you. That was the only video in January. Coming up at the end of January right now at the recording of this, and I don't have a lot, I guess, to share with you guys in regards to knives, simply because of the fact that I mentioned a little bit in that one video about my back, and well, my lower back hasn't been all that great. I don't know if I mentioned the last video though, but years ago I got diagnosed. I actually had bulging and protruding discs in my cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Yes, triple whammy. Well, I have been going through some of the physical therapy and my chiropractic stuff and everything. And the good thing is I've actually been cutting back my Marine Corps vitamins lately, ibuprofen, and just been doing a lot of stretching and exercises, because the last 6 months or so in 2020, I really got kind of procrastinating about physical fitness, exercising and everything, which it's really easy to do when you have a lifestyle like mine. And after a while, a lot of you guys know, you get whipped after being at work or do whatever else, you just don't have the motivation. Well, even more so when I'm in the shop and I'm grinding and I'm sanding and stuff, you feel the pain and the aches, and you just don't have that motivation to get back into the gym and start working out. We have a nice little weight set and an actual Nautilus brand system and everything we picked up all back. A really good system, but just didn't have it in me to do it. And so it was just that mentality. And getting closer to 50, it's always like trying to muster up that energy and do everything. And all the excuses that one could fathom. Well, they all came to a head towards the end of the year in 2020. And I had been out in the shop a couple times helping me with knives and such. Well, fast forward now to January of 2021, and I ended up not doing anything. The doc's like, don't do anything, stay out of the shop, just do all these exercises, do this. And I did that. It got to the point where when I saw him, before I went in, I would lay him flat on my back, and I couldn't even lift up one of my legs. Like if you did flutter kicks, that kind of thing, I couldn't do that because it hurt so bad. So now I'm back to doing flutter kicks and crunches and sit-ups and squats and planks and push-ups and trying to build the core. Not doing any major weight stuff, but just doing core stuff, low or no weight type exercises, because that's what I need to do. I need to build the core. It's not muscle or anything else, because how do you build muscle if you can't even lift your leg, right? Well, today's video is a little bit about that. I want to take you in the shop for it real quick. But before I do that, I actually wanted to share this with you. I bought this probably 2 years ago, right when we got Trip. I mean, we bought Trip like within 6 months. I got this seat cover, and it's that Yes or whatever. It's definitely not a made in America product by no stretch of the imagination, but that's it. And well, it's winter time here, even though it hasn't rained in the last couple of weeks, and no snow over here by us. We do want to take Dutch with us on a couple little trips, and I am putting the seat cover in finally. Also because where we're going to go, and right now it's pretty cold, and I think I have a dog kennel. I'll bring that out later and I'll share it with you. I have a dog kennel with an insulated cover and stuff like that. We might be putting Dutch back here, but if it gets really cold where we're going, which it kind of is, he's going to ride up front with us. And I just got done putting this cover in, and this cover is stinking easy to put in. I mean, it took me like 2-3 minutes to put this thing in, and it worked out great. It's got these like anchors. It's like a really heavy duty handle. You fold your back seat down, you slide the anchor in between the crack of the seat, the top and the seat part, the backrest and the seat part, and you throw it in there, you put the seat back up. It's got clips on the top, super easy. I'm not even going to show you how to, because literally it took me less than 5 minutes to put it in. But I got that, and I just wanted to talk to you about that because I got some Nissan guys that come here every now and then, and I wanted to share that with you. Also, let me put you guys down for a second. What I also wanted to share with you guys was these things. Now, I'm going to do a walkover video probably in the next few weeks, and I'll be putting it up. It'll probably come out the end of February, first part of March. I got B-roll footage on the installation process and what I kind of went through to install both the ARB Tread Pros on this side as well as the roll packs that are on the other side. I'll try to remember a link up above or at least something down below. If I don't, forgive me, but you can find stuff under my Nissan Titan playlist, and you'll see the walkthrough I did on the Nissan Titan earlier in 2020, where I walked through everything and I talked to you a little bit about what the Nissan has on it, why I did things, including the rooftop tent, which you see is missing because, of course, it's wintertime. We're going to do some trips towards the east a little bit and go some, not overlanding, but just do some outdoor activities. We're going to stay at hotels. So therefore, I didn't want to drive 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles with the rooftop tent when most everything I'm doing is highway driving. So I wanted to take that all off. So I got the Goanna back here on the, we got it back here right now, sitting right there. There it is, right there. And then that's old Charlie. That's the trailer. A lot of you guys, I did that video where I sealed off his roof with the Henrys. It worked great. The problem is Charlie had so many other problems, both interior and with the body of the trailer and such, which we didn't know about at the time until we started trying to go in and do some remodeling on it. Charlie wasn't salvageable. We actually tore Charlie completely down. The kids, Asher, Ben and his buddy Asher came out and cut it up. I did some stuff. We took the Zaza to it and pry bars and such, and we literally tore Charlie down to the frame. And Ben and I are going to make a flat trailer with this thing. We got some of the wiring and the lights and stuff like that, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some welding, and we're going to cut some things off here and there and put a wood deck on this and make it a flatbed hauler. Now it has two 3,500-pound torsion axles, so we might end up keeping it ourselves. I actually ordered the fenders. They're coming right now. So I got tandem axle fenders coming. I bought from Northern Tool, and we're going to just deck this all off and make a 5-foot interior dimensions between the wheels. Like the frame itself is 5 foot by 16 foot. So we're going to make some kind of frame and deck that all out and kind of make something nice that either we're going to use or we might end up selling it. But it would be a really good experience and something that we thought we would, you know, share with you guys. Now, one of the other things I had to share with you all, because we just did this yesterday at the recording of this video, we did it on a Friday. I actually went off, I was doing some running around, doing some errands, and I ended up taking the fuel tanks, and what I want to do is I want to drain. I haven't used them in a while, so I actually took the fuel, I put it in old Trip here, and then I did a dry film. It's like a dry lube kind of thing. I did that, took the block tumblers off, because you should maintain these. The bad thing is the Rotopax doesn't make these where they're actually like got a rubber cap on them or something, which is really horrible. Because everybody that has these says the same thing. These get rusty, they get corroded, they get stuck, so you got to maintain these. So I took these off and I did some dry film lube and put it inside the lock, and I put the key in there, and I would work the key to get the oil in and work all the mechanisms, all the little ball bearings that are in there. And then I actually took the Rotopack handle off where it's got a long threaded bolt. They're like a double T handle. And I actually put some weatherproof grease on the threads and then screwed that in. So I really kind of cleaned it up for this winter and going forward into the year. So I wanted to do all that stuff. But as I was emptying these and filling old Trip up, I noticed that something that I thought was rectified after my Coyote Works trip, I noticed it was kind of a bad thing. So we ended up having to do something. Yes, that's right. I ended up having to take the Fender Flares off, the wheel well flares, the ones I got from Rough Country. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about here too, because let me adjust you here. What ended up happening is when I went on that Oregon trip, ooh, too dark. When I went on that Oregon trip and I met up with Casey and a bunch of people, what ended up happening is we went through some really hard brush and some rough terrain, and some of it actually came across and hit some of my Fender Flares. Well, the Fender Flares that are Rough Countries, they do screw in a little bit. They use factory screw holes, but there's also metal spring clips that hold the Fender Flare on. And after that trip, and when I got home, I noticed I was missing some of my clips. They got tore off by hitting brush and everything with those Fender Flares. What I did is when I had gotten home, I actually kind of pressed them back in again, and I got a couple extra screws, put them in there, and I kind of stole some of the spring clips from the front fenders and did stuff, so I worked that out kind of okay. But I had noticed that the rear fender on the driver's side, it almost seemed like it got stretched, where if the fender's curved like this and my thumb is the point that connects to the fender, the inside wheel well, this part and this part, my fingertips here, rest against the truck. And what ends up happening is apparently when I hit the brush and everything, it stretched them out a little bit and they won't go back into place. I thought maybe I had it locked in well enough and I thought it was okay, but now after and of course 2020, after that trip in September, I didn't do a lot of driving afterwards. But yesterday I was filling up the fuel tanks and I noticed the fender flares were sitting off the body of Tripp's quarter panel here about 3/16 of an inch or so. And I tried to push on it to kind of get it and thought maybe something came loose, and it didn't, because again, the screws and the clips are kind of holding it in place. But I noticed something, that as I drove, the wind would come across the side of Tripp and it would actually pull that fender flare out a little bit more and exaggerate that gap, which number one causes a bunch of wind drag to go inside there. But the second thing is not just that fender flare, but all four of them were trapping a large amount of dirt and dust and debris, especially having gone in Coyote Works country, where central and eastern Oregon is so dusty, and some of that stuff was like Martian dust. It was so powdery and floury that between all the dust and the gravel I drove around here, the water, the rain, the sand there, these fender flares were actually trapping a lot of debris, and it was sitting not only inside the fender flare itself, but against the wheel well, but also at the bottom of the wheel wells. And I didn't like that. So we started taking them all off, and then I noticed the damage. Yes, now all four quarter panels do have a little rub mark that kind of follows where the wheel well was at. I don't think any of that's anything worse that can't buff out, because I got a lot of pinstriping going across the side of the truck from that trip exactly. So I'm thinking a good wash wax and a buffing would probably buff most of those scratches out. But the problem is this right here. The fender flare had vibrated back and forth so much because it wasn't tight against the body of the truck. It had vibrated back and forth so much it wore away the clear coat, the paint, and the primer all the way down to bare steel. So now I'm forced to have to go to the auto parts place and I have to get a bunch of touch-up paint and try to touch up all of that area in there so it doesn't promote rust. Super, super bad. The other downfall is you will see that, but again, Tripp's got a lot of dings and nicks on them already, so it's not too bad. But I'm thinking maybe there's another alternative. I may end up going to something like Raptor Skin and cleaning them all off in the summertime and buying the Raptor Skin, which is an automotive bed liner spray. You actually spray it with the compressor and the gun and the cans and everything. It's a two-part mix, like an epoxy, and maybe spraying around his wheel well areas and across the bottom of the rocker panels and such, and putting that in there to really protect the bottom from rocks and kicking up and everything. But we'll see. But I wanted to share that with you guys because I had those for about a year and a half, and I have to say I used them pretty extensively, as you guys have seen in videos. I've gone a lot of places and did a lot of things with those, and I wanted to share that with you because hindsight being what it is, I was very naive to those types of upgrades and such, and I would actually have to say that I don't know if I would recommend them. Maybe if you did a bed liner spray on your truck and around the fender wells, and then you take those and you attach them to that, then I would say yes, that would be okay. But the caveat with that is if you plan on doing a lot of off-roading and overlanding like I did, and I don't do a ton like people like Casey and Expedition Overland and stuff like that, or Ed Shin, my buddy Ed, those fender flares don't hold up very well to the abuse that I actually put them through. And I don't think I was really that rough on Tripp versus other people. So with that being said, I would have to say that those things are maybe just best left for people that are a little bit lighter on their truck than I would be. So I would have to say for that, maybe you shouldn't get those. That's probably something that you might want to steer away from. They do look cool, they look really good and everything like that, but again, they don't bolt to the body of the vehicle, they only bolt underneath in the fender flare. So meaning they bolt here, and so all of this, even though there's little screws, they're just for show. This can be pulled away. You can actually pry it off, but they said I didn't like it. I'm not upset that I did it and I tried it because I didn't have a lot of people, or I didn't see a lot of things telling me don't do it. So I got to say I don't think you should do it, and I think it's more set for like the mall crawlers and stuff. So yes, they were good because, as you guys know, the wheels stick out a little bit from the fenders, and the reason why I got that is I wanted to keep the mud and all this stuff splashing against the truck. But ultimately, I don't think it was a good trade-off, so I wanted to share that with you all. Oh, I did open my books up the first week of January, and I announced it on a Coyote Works video. So I did that, and then most of those knives all sold. At the making of this video, there's only one knife available. It's the Coyote Works knife. But the reason why I wasn't getting aggressive in opening the books up and taking a lot of orders is because of my back. I do have about 18 knives right now set up right here. I do have about 18 knives set up here. These are 6 orders that were placed in December of 2020, only because those people reached out and said they weren't in a big rush, and they said I could wait 6-8 months. I didn't care, so they went ahead and I got them on a list and did that kind of thing. I don't normally do that because most people that watch this video, and a lot of people that have bought knives in the past, realize that usually about 4 or 5 months is a max. Once in a blue moon I've hit that 6-month mark, but usually it's about 2 to 4 months that everybody gets their knives. So I really hate to have people wait very long for the knife. But some of these customers were like, hey, I don't care. As long as I got on the list, I just want to be in there because I know how busy you get and I know how fast your knives sell out. So I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, because people like that wouldn't do those things if it wasn't for you that have been supporting me the last 5 years, 5-6 years now. So I do have knives here. I do have everybody's books built up. I got Charles, Eric, Bethany, Keith, Stephen P, Jeremy, and then everybody from 2020. Now, with that being said, there was some other things that we were doing in the shop here, and I wanted to share with you because this is our creative side. I'm gonna take you guys off because this is what me and the kids have been working on in December, January so far, and I thought you guys, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that and seeing what we were doing, and that's these bonsai trees. These bonsai trees, Ben and Ella and I made these bonsai trees. We bought copper wire, and we bought 3 spools of copper wire, and we kind of divvied them up a little bit. The kids got a little bit more copper wire than me, so they made a thicker or more elaborate tree than I did. But we twist the copper wire. We put them in a bucket, and we twist them and everything. And we got inspiration from Bobby Duke, watching Bobby Duke over like October, November last year in 2020. He did one out of aluminum wiring. So we did ours out of copper because we found out a bunch of people were doing these projects. And so Ella and I went and bought little white and pink beads, and we made ours cherry blossom trees. Where Ben turned around and he made his with green, it was like this, I don't even know what they call it. I got a bag right here, what they call this kind of stuff. But it's like this fluffy stuff you use for train stuff. Matter of fact, all the components we're using for the most part are used on making landscapes and role-playing things for like the little models and the little army figures and like train sets and everything. We did all that. The difference is with me and Ella, what we did is we took some plywood and we cut the plywood down, and Ella got a rock and she actually mixed this stuff called epoxy, which we got right here. We got this epoxy system right here, and it's a 2-part mix, and you mix it all up, and it turns from 2 different shades of gray to 1 shade of gray, and then you can mix it, and then you can form it. And she put it around her tree over here, and then she ran her roots down in there and stuff like that. And then I did the same thing, but what I did is with my plywood, I actually cut some various sheets and stacked it and screwed them all together, glued and screwed it together, and then I took epoxy and formed it, and I put my tree on that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cover everything that's brown. We're going to go ahead and cover it with glue and then grass. We bought these different types of grasses that they use for the landscaping scenes and all these trains and such like that. And we're going to go ahead and glue it and put all the grass on there. And we got these little bushes and such we're going to put on and make a little landscape. And also what we did is we mixed epoxy, and I bought EcoFlow epoxy. And we mixed epoxy and we made ourselves ponds. Where Ben, on the other hand, what he ended up doing is he ended up taking a piece of wood. It was a piece of wood I had laying around, and then a piece of rock that he really liked. And he actually epoxied those two together. And then he mixed the epoxy clay, and he formed himself a little pond, and we poured the epoxy with us, the EcoFlow, and dyed it blue, and then he made a little pond as well. And he put sticks and bushes and stuff around it, and it really was neat. Then once he was done with that, he went ahead and put more of the epoxy clay put it on top of there, and he pushed his tree into that and molded it in there. So now when he covers that gray epoxy, he'll have these all the grass and such. So you'll see grass in some areas, and you'll see the copper from the wire that we made the roots popping out of the grass and going back into the ground and really making it look kind of cool. So the kids and I have been staying fairly busy with some of the projects that we have. And then I'll also start building an epoxy table that I did before. I was going to do a video on it, and I did film some of the steps, but this is the table that I had, and it turned out pretty good. We didn't use Eco Epoxy. We used the West Systems, and the West Systems didn't work as well. I wasn't as happy with the finish as I am with the EcoFlow stuff, but it is what it is. I'm going to sand that down, and then I am going to coat it with Eco Epoxy later this week and finish it all up, and then I'm going to weld some table legs. I'm going to try to get creative and do something like that. So I thought maybe I'd share that with you later, but anyhow, guys, it's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. I just wanted to share this, give you guys an update. You're watching this, it's February 2021, and at the time this video comes out, I will be back from one of my trips, and I will be back in the shop working. Pain or no pain, I have to do it because I have to work on your guys' knives. The one last thing I'd have to say in closing the video is I'm not sure how the books are going to be opened and what's going to be happening the first few months of 2021. I have a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. I'm working with a couple of companies. A couple of those companies you guys know, and you've seen me post in the past stuff with them or about them. So they're not it's not of a big surprise of the names, but what might be happening will be, and I'm super excited about that. As well as I'm really excited to share some new news with you guys and a new vlog series. And I can't say much else than that because I don't want to jinx myself, and for all I know, it might all fall apart. But there's a lot of stuff happening with my family and I, as well as with CK Knife and Tool. It's going to affect how long my books are open, how many orders I can take this year in 2021. But it's all for the best in the long run going forward into 2022 and so on. So hopefully you guys are patient with me and look out for more videos. Videos will probably be maybe 1 or 2 a month at this point, depending on the flow of videos and what I have going on. Maybe if I get the vlog series going, the special vlog series, that might be at least 2 videos a week, but a lot of it might be live. I might actually just be doing like a half-hour live video and or posting videos on the fly, meaning I'll be going from one point to another. So I'm not going to be at home on the Mac editing and doing everything. They're going to be a little bit more raw and a little bit more personal. No fancy editing or anything like that. And again, some of it might be live where I might take you guys with me and on the road or anything else and just do a quick, like maybe a 5-minute to a half-hour video, depending on where I'm at and what's happening. So I do want to say thank you to that. And also thank you to everybody that's been shouting out with me. Hopefully the video about the bandsaw blades and that whole series has been very helpful. I'm happy to have helped everybody, Anthony especially. You know, yeah, granted, Anthony, you are a firefighter and all. But we won't hold it against you, Anthony. And I've got a lot of cool pins coming later on this year, so I'm hoping to share those pins with you. If you're on Instagram, you'll get more information and probably more Instagram lives or more weekly updates over on Instagram, because it's a little easier for me just to kind of post something up there again on the fly or one morning and then just go on with my business. So if you do have an Instagram account, make sure you look me up at cknifeandtool.com. A lot of that stuff does cross over to Facebook. It cross posts, but I don't go on Facebook anymore. I don't do anything over there pretty much. I haven't for the last couple of years. So it is what it is. I've been busy, and I'd rather not spend all of my time doing all the social media stuff because it takes away from other things like this, my family, you guys. So again, thank you all very much. Remember, like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Keep me from the bottom of the YouTube bucket because you have, and I appreciate it. And we'll see you all in the next video. Bye.